A recent poll noted that 88% of Americans don't think it's a good time to buy a house. Right now, days on market are up, showings are down, and sales are all over the place. People are wondering if the market's going to crash. What do you think? Let's hop into the Colorado Springs market update right now. So for those of you who have paid any attention whatsoever to social media or the world around you, there was an election a couple of weeks ago, and everybody is wanting to talk a little bit about the market. And is the housing market going to rebound? Is the housing market crashing? What's going on with the real estate market? And I want to tell you, before we even get started in numbers this week, the election is not going to have anything to do with the housing market for a while, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But here's what we want to do. We want to give you a little update on the Colorado Springs real estate market. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of things going on right now, and it's super weird. It's all over the place, but let's dig in. So new sales are actually down month over month. In October, it was 1,408. In November, new homes came on at 893, which is flat year over year. It was 895 this same time last year. But sales, as you can imagine, went down from 998 in October to 894 in November. That's actually way up from this same time last year at 715. Now we can all agree that 2023 and 2024 mirror each other from a market standpoint, and we're trying to figure out what our footing is. Average sales price, however, has not really moved all that much. Now granted, it's down last month from 557 in October to 553 in November, but that's only down 1,000 from 554 in November of 2023. We're not seeing that big of a shift. So again, consumer sentiment is what's driving everything. As I mentioned, not many people think it's a great time to buy a house. Median sales price, get this. This is what's weird. Median sales price went from 475 to 485 month over month, and it's way up from 466 year over year. So for those of you who are sitting on the fence, maybe it's not a best time to buy, that doesn't mean that home prices are going down. So here's what's great. Total available inventory. So if you are looking for a house, you're probably not seeing that much come on. So total number of listings is down month over month. From October, it was 3,394. In November, it was 3,092. That's actually way up from the same time last year, November of 2023, when it was 2,397. So we've got about 700 houses more than we did last year, but consumer sentiment is what's driving all of this. And as I mentioned, days on market are up. We've almost doubled days on market in the last 3 months. We're up to 62 days on the market right now on average for homes. Yes, some are still going within a few days, but a lot of them are taking months to sell because consumer sentiment is so low on the housing market. If you're like most people, you're sitting around wondering, okay, how's this election going to play out? What's the market going to do? What are interest rates going to do? And it's important to remember, it's not just interest rates. It's also insurance. It's also the value of homes. And as we can see, value of the home is not going down, which means the tax bill is still going to be pretty high. So as we mentioned, there was an election, and I want to tell you why I judge the election is not going to have an impact on our market. Regardless of which administration you follow or you're tied to or you prefer over another, it doesn't really matter. The reality of it is the incoming administration has a lot of stuff on its plate, and interest rates are not one of those things. Historically, they're looking at interest rates as they're just fine. From a consumer standpoint, we're looking at inflation as something that has impacted our pockets on a monthly basis, and we just can't afford what we used to be able to afford. So I think the current administration versus the incoming administration are trying to take a look at how do we get normal monthly expenses back to a manageable level. And that doesn't necessarily mean home prices, because everybody wants to talk about interest rates. I don't think the incoming administration is going to impact interest rates all that much. They're going to try and impact inflation and what it costs us to live as Americans on a monthly basis. Whether or not that happens, we're going to have to wait and see. Don't want to get into that with you. The political pundits are going to have at it over the next several months. But I just want to tell you from a housing standpoint, I don't think the incoming administration is going to have quite the impact that a lot of people like to think he's going to have. So there's a lot to keep an eye on as we head into 2025. But if you have any questions about the market, feel free to reach out. We're happy to help.